Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Curiosity Podcast. I'm your host, Umut, and today we are going to speak about Eurovision. Even though Turkey, the country I'm living in, is not participating in Eurovision, most people miss being a part of the song contest. Eurovision is more than a contest for most of the people, of course. It is also a cultural bridge that people from different countries can celebrate their differences, languages, and cultural values. To be honest, Eurovision 1995 was my favorite Eurovision ever, but this year it is going to be quite special as well, because for the first time in Eurovision history, there are no French songs in the contest. How crazy is that? No French in Eurovision. This year, France is going to be represented with a song in Breton language. You can find the link for that song below, which is one of my favorite songs this year, by the way. So definitely go and check it out. Some people didn't even know this language existed until this year, which is funny in my opinion, because in the past Breton language had over 1 million speakers. Yes, you have heard it correctly. There were 1 million people who were natively speaking Breton language. Alban and Ahez definitely did amazing job with their song called Fulen. Especially considering some people didn't even know this language existed until this year and they learned about it with the song, so it is a total win in my book. Breton language was actually pretty popular with over 1 million speakers in the past, but how the mighty has fallen. It was not so long ago too, actually. I'm speaking about 1950s. Now in the 21st century, we see that Breton language is between severely endangered languages according to UNESCO. So we should all say our thanks to Eurovision and of course to our Breton musicians for still making music in their own language. Seriously people, to keep your culture alive, making songs in that culture is extremely important, and in that language too, of course. To speak about Breton a bit, Breton is an Indo-European language being spoken by around 230,000 people, mostly located in the geographical location called Brittany, northwest of France. One of the biggest problems about Breton language is that there are no government-funded schools supporting education in Breton in France. There were a couple arguments about how there should be schools teaching in Breton, especially in Brittany, but France, according to their constitution, didn't let that happen because French constitution clearly states that French is the language of the Republic. Since the language of the Republic is French, it is impossible to teach in another language in the borders of France. So no matter what, Alban and Ahez with their song called Fulen are one of the two winners of this year's Eurovision, in my honest opinion. They managed to get one of the endangered languages which people didn't even know about into the biggest song contest of the Europe, or perhaps even the world. Let me know if there are any other song contests as big as Eurovision, but I think Eurovision is the biggest song contest of the world. As a language teacher, this makes me super happy. So go Alban and Ahez, we trust you. But as you realized, probably, I said one of the two winners of this year's Eurovision. So who might be the second winner? Dun 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 dun. Okay, for Eurovision fans and language nerds like me, I will give you a hint. The second winner is not even in the contest right now. And their song was in a minority language as well. So if you want to take a guess, just stop the video here and take your guess. It is Tanxugueiras, of course. They made another endangered language, Galician, popular again. They were my favorite, to be honest. I watched the Spanish song contest for them. Sadly, they couldn't join the Eurovision. It is a shame, I'm not going to lie. You can also find their song below this video. Spain has lots of endangered languages, to be honest. Galician is just one of those. There are also languages called Leonese, Aragonese, Basque, Catalan, but these are just the bigger ones. They also have smaller endangered languages too, which I'm not going to speak today because our time is quite short. Since all these languages are very interesting as well, we are going to speak about them in one of our future podcasts, of course. if we have to go back to Galician now, it is mainly being spoken in Galicia. This geographical region is located at the northwest of the Spain and north of Portugal, of course. The language is very similar to Portuguese, and as far as I'm aware, Portuguese and Galician speakers can understand each other pretty well, while I got mixed feedback from Spanish speakers, to be honest. Some of the Spanish speakers told me that they can understand Galician to minor extent, not much, but like 20% maybe, because some words are heavily affected by the Spanish language now. But most of the Spanish speakers told me that they can't understand anything from Galician. Also, when I made my Brazilian friends listen Galician, they told me it sounds like a weird mix between Spanish and Portuguese. So, I mean Portugal Portuguese, not Brazilian Portuguese, because there's a big difference between Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese Portuguese. There's only one thing that we are sure of right now. The northern Portuguese people can understand Galician very well. They even use similar words to Galician. That is not a surprise, of course, considering the biggest theory about Galician and Portuguese saying that they were both the same languages at some point. But of course, in time, Portugal gained its independence, and with this independence they gained, their culture and language started drifting away from the Galician one. The common ancestor of both of these languages, Portuguese and Galician, was called Galician Portuguese, actually. Very straightforward, right? Still, to this day, the similarities between Galician and Portuguese language causes some sense of cultural unity between Portuguese and Galician people, which is very interesting to see. Of course, I'm not saying that Galicians and Portuguese people, they just want to unite under one banner or anything like this. Of course, there are some people supporting that idea too, but it is not very good in my opinion, because Galicians now being separated from Portugal for a very long time, they have different cultures, and even northern Portuguese people who are living very close to Galicia have distinct Portuguese culture. There are around 2.4 million native Galician speakers right now on the world, which is a big number. It is not small, definitely, especially when you compare with Breton, which had 230,000 speakers. It is a really big number, but still, the numbers are dwindling, people. We have to revive those languages, and Tanchugueiras definitely made the language more popular this year with their song Terra. In their song also there's a part which I really like. They sing that part in different Iberian languages every time they sing the song, apparently. I didn't realize that before, but one of my linguist friends from the northern Portugal let me know about this. She basically told me that they sing that part of the song in different languages every time. And that part in Galician is Não há fronteiras. That means there are no borders, like we don't have borders. So it is an amazing part, it is meaningful, and also they are saying that part, they're singing that part in apparently different Iberian languages every time they sing that part, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So yes, Eurovision this year introduced many people to two different minority languages, Breton and Galician. They are both very beautiful languages, very unique ones, and they showed the culture of the people who are speaking those languages very well. I hope in the future we will see more minority languages competing at the Eurovision, and we definitely have to be more aware towards minority languages on the world. These two are just the examples I wanted to speak about today, but every country has many minority languages right now. We can't let those minority languages simply die, since languages carry the culture to the next generations, and every culture is unique and beautiful in their own way. So, what is your idea about minority languages? What kind of minority languages do you have in your country? You can leave your answers under the comment section, and I would like to see and read them actually, and if I can answer them, I will definitely answer them. I would also like to remind you that I am actively giving classes on this wonderful website called italki, and if you would like to take English or Turkish classes from me, you can follow the link below. See you on our next podcast. Bye.